Look, Brian.
Well, images are starting to appear on social media showing this strong earthquake that happened over there in Peru. What is known so far? Well, there are details that stand out because of the magnitude to begin with, and the fact that injuries have already been confirmed. There is even talk now about some areas that may have been affected by this strong earthquake. We have to remember that Peru is within the earthquake zone, the Pacific Ring of Fire, and this also, well, from time to time, causes tremendous scares. On this occasion, the earthquake was reported as 6.1, but the USGS from the United States marked it as 5.8. But what stands out is that an earthquake occurred, and at the same time, a different one occurred between Japan and China. We're looking at this one now, and we'll discuss this other earthquake soon. Both are the same magnitude, more or less around magnitude 6. Yes, they also said 6.1. Here it's reported as 5.9, but earthquakes do happen. The magnitudes are almost the same and the depths are also similar, about 40 kilometers deep, approximately. Despite that depth, it has been detected and it has caused damage. It has caused problems. That's what has been seen.
Well, in Peru, what is known is that 27 people were injured in this earthquake. Fortunately, the damage is also minor. I mean, for now, there is no mention of anyone losing their life. A strong earthquake, as Pepe said, 6.1. I don't know if you have the same information. Yes. 5.8. 5.8. Well, here they initially reported it as 6.1, at least in the ISA region. And fortunately, it has only caused minor injuries and minor material damage. This tremor was felt moderately strong in Lima, Peru, and it occurred at 12:57 local time at a depth of 81 kilometers, which is very deep, and the epicenter is located 41 kilometers south of the city of Ica.
Right? Greetings to the whole community that's joining us. Thank you for being here. And look, let's stay alert to what's happening in general, because when an earthquake like this happens and then another one happens in Japan, it's usually activity that starts to appear in several places at the same time. Today, a 5.2 or 5.3 quake in Alaska caught my attention, but you say, well, it's more or less common, but it's like the whole belt is getting activated, right? Exactly.
I seem to remember yesterday, right? There was one in China.
China.
That is not in the belt, sorry.
No, but yes, I was there. It was intense and caused damage too, by the way. But well, there it is, right? Friends in Peru, if you're watching, let us know how the situation turned out for you. Obviously, this is a developing story that we will keep updating as more information comes out, especially since the number of people affected there will likely change. So, well, we'll talk more about that later too, right? Is there anything else we missed about the topic? Earthquake.
Well, there was a 4.1 aftershock also. Nothing happened. It was calm, and well, nothing else has been reported. I don't know what the USGS is showing there.
Yes. It shows the aftershock too. No.
Not many, since in some countries, one quake can lead to 20, 30, or 40 aftershocks.
Exactly. Very close to Ica, by the way, right? We're seeing it there. Near Ica as well. It draws attention, and our friends from Peru will inform us. I'm also unsure if people in northern Argentina felt it. They'll tell us maybe Bolivia too. I mean, yes, if we look at this area of Peru, it could be relatively close, especially to Bolivia, right? And we're seeing it, right? And well, not so much from Argentina, no, that's a bit farther away, and from Chile too. There's also an earthquake here in Chile. So, how strong is this one? This one is 4.1, very deep, right? Very deep. So, let's also stay alert to what's happening over there. But for now, the most important thing is this. Let's move on to other important matters. Thanks. Notice that in the case of what's happening over there between Donald Trump or the United States and Iran, it's not happening. Well, that's an important turn in that sense, since it warns not only that they are going to resume attacks against Iran, but that they're already preparing attacks, they're already drawing up military options. and it's being talked about. And this is a topic that obviously they are not going to confirm, but there is already talk of the possibility of sending in troops. I mean, the next phase could begin with bombers, but also possibly with troops in some areas, especially considering that it has been a cycle. And look, how Americans see it is starting to shift a bit, because all of a sudden you have to watch how people respond, how they're going to react. You have to go and check out people's comments in general, Twitter, Reddit, the media in general, right? When you start seeing the answers or the options that the Iranians put out today were a 5-point option. All 5 points are just red lines that would be
Iranians. And they don't comment on the nuclear program. No, I mean, they're simply not negotiating it.
Exactly, that's another point.
That's very concerning.
exactly. The main point isn't even being addressed. No. I mean, and the comments were basically mocking, saying this is a cycle. It's like a loop that repeats over and over again. We've already been playing dumb in the middle of it.
Ya nos sentimos locos aquí.
Well, Donald Trump insists that a nuclear weapon will not be allowed. And, well, as long as that's not on the negotiating table, supposedly the military option comes up again.
Exactly. She's sure that once again they say there's a limited time frame to move the negotiations forward. We have to remember that right now we're supposedly under a 30-day ultimatum set by Iran. So I'm not sure which ultimatum we're really following here. But anyway, the United States with this deadline, and she says, 2 to 3 days, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's already been more than 2 or 3 days. She never gives a specific time frame. Maybe early next week, next month, or next year, because we can't ever allow them to get a nuclear weapon. They're always one step ahead. That's already passed.
He's a very good friend, and he's a character who constantly contradicts himself. He's someone who only looks out for himself. He looks out for his own interests. We already know him. Why pretend otherwise, right? I mean, that's the reality. And the truth is, he won't have any other option but to get involved in the conflict again. He doesn't have another choice. It's a lose-lose situation. In what sense? In the political sense. Because there's no way he can win the elections. I mean, there's just no way. Just look at the polls and you see it's about him. He's at rock bottom here. He's 3 meters below ground. Yes, I mean, there's no way. Not even Nixon did that. In fact, when Nixon was already at that level of popularity, he preferred to resign. He preferred to step down because he said it's impossible to govern a country like that. And Trump doesn't intend to step down. I mean, Trump basically says, I'm popular, right? According to him. And that's how he handles it in his, let's say, in his view, right? And within an ever-shrinking sector that supports him. Let's see how it unfolds. Even today, the Senate blocks him and is already starting to move against the war as well.
Exactly. Today as well, like Pepe says, the Senate, a proposal that was voted on, there have been 7 attempts, if I'm not mistaken, to, let's say, limit the power he can have in decisions about the war. Donald Trump in Iran, specifically in Iran, because they tried it with Venezuela, they tried it with, well, the Caribbean attacks to be more specific. They've tried it. They've tried it with Cuba and with Venezuela, and with Iran as well. And well, today, Tuesday, for the first time, this project is moving forward, which will allow them to start debating a measure that requires President Donald Trump to end the war in Iran and to obtain authorization from Congress to continue it. It's an issue that, according to him, he says he doesn't need it. And this happened after several Republicans turned their backs on Donald Trump's administration, and the vote ended up 50-47. So very close. If there's a Democrat who's, well, a very Republican Democrat, I would say it's him. Trump's Viktor Orban, this Furman or something like that, is this person's last name. Yes, he voted. He always votes for whatever Donald Trump says. He votes on that side. And well, with this, you can try to limit Donald Trump's power.
It says, you guys just suck up to Trump. He says, I think either you don't listen or you haven't seen anything at all.
I'm listening to you right now.
Not a single show. I think this is my namesake, Jose Alvarez. So where are you? Maybe you got the wrong channel, buddy. Or maybe you really don't understand Spanish, right? Greetings, Jose Francisco. How have you been, Walter Osorio? Thank you so much, Walter. A big hello to you all the way to the south of Mexico. Greetings to the whole community watching us in Campeche, in Tabasco, and those watching us over there in Yucatan. Big greetings. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Tapatia, how have you been? Nika Ghost, greetings to the Spanish community and those watching from California. Ghost, look at how they're blocking the construction. $400 million blockade, which is ridiculous. It's just absurd.
They ask if she'll raise it.
She'll raise it, of course. Meanwhile, there's also obstruction to the military move he wants to make, which he doesn't want to call a war, even though it is. Well, those are the two toughest setbacks she's had in the last few months.
Exactly. Now, this thing we're talking about in the Senate, the project is still going to be discussed. This vote was just so it could be discussed. So in the coming weeks, it will be discussed in both chambers. And if it's approved, then the Oval Office, the president would have the possibility to be there. I mean, anyway, he can veto it, which he will probably do if it actually passes. Now we're discussing Trump's adventures. Interestingly, today it turns out Donald Trump sued the Department of the Treasury for a huge sum because they investigated him and published details about his taxes. Well, today Trump's agency dropped the lawsuit yesterday, and now it's becoming clear why. Well, he reached an agreement with the IRS that they won't go after either Trump or his family regarding taxes. Just imagine, he's already getting ready to leave to make sure his children don't have any trouble because they're doing a lot of shady things that are well known. It's known that Donald Trump's whole family is taking a lot of money. And well, they reached this agreement with the Internal Revenue Service that Donald Trump, his family, and his companies will not face back tax claims under the agreement they reached today.
Today, I asked you a question in the community area with an image, obviously just to have some fun, here. Let's put up this image. I said Trump had arrived at the studio, right? Just imagine having that studio there would be awesome, right? Well, someday, right? Someday, of course. But just imagine Donald Trump shows up, the Secret Service arrives and says, okay, you can ask him any question you want. What would we ask him? What could we ask him? I'm asking the community to tell us what you think we should ask this individual about anything, about any topic, right? You tell me any topic. Like if he says, I'm going to be there in your studio, we're going to be talking. You can ask me whatever you want, right? And what question would you ask the President of the United States, regardless of likes and dislikes? I know there are all kinds of people. I think it's a good opportunity. Even if you just can't stand him at all. But regardless of that, he's the president of that country. What would you ask him, right? Obviously, questions that make sense with what's happening in the world. But of course, I mean, I know that any question is valid. That's great. I mean, obviously, I would ask him about aliens, definitely. But there would be a lot of questions that could be asked that would be interesting. And I don't see anyone asking him those in the media. Either they don't dare or they just get told, you can't ask this. And that's the end of it, right? So, well, I'll leave that question, that dynamic. And at the end of the video, I'll see what questions you all would like to ask this person. Let's move on to other topics, to other matters that are also important. Look at what's happening in this case. Look, there's a tremendous situation happening in Bolivia. So much so that even the United States is coming out and commenting. This Christopher Landau, who was, by the way, the ambassador to Mexico, knows Latin America very well. Christopher Landau, he was the ambassador to Mexico when Biden was in office. Yes. And besides, well, he was always posting things about what he likes about Mexico. So, I mean, he became a fan of Mexico, right? In that sense, well, he became very popular because he was always like, hey, here I am eating some tacos. Here I am eating some tamales. Here I am with this artisan. Here I am. I mean, he was always trying to do what a diplomatic job should be, right? Isos, to get to know the country, not just the politicians, but to really go out and get to know the country, its culture, and everything about it. So that part about this ambassador or former ambassador really caught people's attention. And now he's the deputy minister. And he's the Deputy Secretary of State of the United States, which is very unusual because very few people who worked for Biden were given any position during Trump's time. He's one of those few. And I think it's because he has an understanding of Latin America. He's been able to observe and be critical. But also, let's say he's been close to certain things in Latin America, right? Unlike others who are very cold when it comes to acting. In their comments and in the way they see things, they almost always come across like police officers, not ambassadors. In this case, this person is warning that he is witnessing a coup d'etat taking place in Bolivia. And this is clearly raising alarms both within Bolivia and throughout Latin America.
Exactly. He claims that in Bolivia they are facing this coup d'etat that Pepe mentioned is underway, promoted by sectors linked to organized crime. And he stated that, well, the United States supports President Rodrigo Paz. Amid these protests, riots, and road blockades, things are getting really intense. And this warning made by the US Deputy Secretary of State, well, he claims that there are violent demonstrations, that there is an alliance whose goal is to weaken the institutions of Bolivia.
I mean, let's say to have it. If it was with Trump, he's right. Ada did it. And this was in the first term, right? It was in the first term. And then
With Biden, it was Mr. Vaquero.
Vaquerudo. It was Mr. Marquez Vaquerudo. Yes, I remember now. Him, the one who's always there in the, what's it called? There in the offices of the government palace, he would spend his time there, sometimes even going twice in a single day, right? And then we're talking about the fact that as part of the warning, there was already a letter that several countries signed, countries that haven't had a good relationship in the past, with Evo Morales mainly. But in general, it's no longer just a protest movement, but rather a rebellious movement, right? From the group, it's happening. Because look, Evo Morales is there when Evo Morales has very serious accusations against him, including abuse of minors, among other things, even having, like groups of minors or things like that. Basically, he's like the Epstein of Latin America, right? But also a politician and corrupt, etc. But aside from the accusations, he still has people and keeps mobilizing them. And in these mobilizations, clearly, if Evo falls, then many of them will fall too. So in the end, it's not just about him, but an entire network. They essentially depend on each other to exist. Because those people, if they ever get brought to justice, obviously, they're never going to be free for the rest of their lives. The accusations are very serious, and they don't want to let go of their power either. I mean, they want to keep holding on to power in Bolivia. So they're taking it to such an extent that now there's even suspicion of an alleged coup d'etat. I'm not sure if they're considering that, but things are escalating seriously and getting worse each time. There are blockades, there are road closures, and now they're even talking about fights, about rocks being thrown, about these kinds of disturbances, let's say. Yes.
I've seen there have been incidents with the police or more violent behaviors.
More violent. So, that's an issue that's obviously going to continue. I don't think it's going to be resolved through dialogue, and I don't think they're going to forgive what Morales has done. So, basically, we're going to see who has more strength, right? That's what's being measured there. And Morales is making a calculation to go all in, as they say. So, up until now, I think the Bolivian government has held back. But if this continues, unfortunately, there could be clashes between state forces and those groups. And in fact, there are already some encounters happening between these forces, right?
Exactly. Well, it's a really complicated situation. Christopher says, the current president was elected through a democratic process less than a year ago. He is in office. And for that reason, he shouldn't be dealing with these protests and demonstrations from President Evo Morales, who, is mired in corruption.
Hey, but the date has already passed.
About what?
The date of the bet.
Yeah, no.
If you want to extend it here.
But but there won't be, Soli won't come if he's not coming now. He's not coming anymore. Let's see, there's a month left, less than a month.
For what?
For the FIFA thing. I mean, visas aren't open to Argentina. No, they aren't.
You mean for the World Cup?
Yes, because the idea was for the World Cup. But no, there won't be, Soli. If it's not there now, then it didn't happen.
What I see is the opposite. They're actually looking for ways to take away visas from everyone, not give visas, Trump's attitude.
Yes, because what I did was a year ago. I mean, I lost a year before the event, not a month before.
Yes, no.
And now that's it. That's it.
And hopefully, yes, it will be. But yes, no, there's no way. No, it's just that, I mean, Trump has closed off visas even for the closest countries like Argentina. I mean, he gets along well with Milei, but for him to want to open the United States up to all Argentines, no, I don't see how. I mean, no, come on. It's not ours. I mean, especially not the MAGA people. No way I could see him with the MAGA people. No. And today, what he wants is the opposite. What he wants is to get tough on immigration, whether it's England or Japan or Canada or whatever. I mean, what they're asking for is toughness. That's what he wants. So if not, I mean, he'll say things. But no. I don't know where it's going. But if not, well, it's the same as last time. No, there's no way. It's just that simple. But if you want, we can make another bet. But you've already lost this one, Soli. Yeah, don't drag it out for me. He says Argentinians don't migrate to the United States because we don't like it. He claims it's just far away. But no, it's just not.
Argentinians don't migrate. They stay in Mexico.
Yeah, it's just that they migrate a lot. Argentinians travel everywhere. You see them in Spain, Mexico, really everywhere. Honestly, it's similar to how Galicians used to migrate back in the day. I mean, they traveled a lot. Yeah, they migrated a lot. They had that reputation, but they've been doing this for a long time, right? That's why you would see them here. But you would also see them a lot in Spain, right? They also go to Spain a lot. I mean,
The Argentinians.
yeah, Italy, I imagine, right? I guess that's one place you'd put on the list.
There is one. And those with Italian relatives, supposedly until a few years ago.
They had the possibility of having a double visa, right? Double. But anyway, let's move on to other matters. Let's move on to other topics. And this one is double. So is it all or nothing? Or what? Soli, this one goes double. Is
Double.
Bye. Let's move on to other important matters as well about what's happening in the world. Look, there are a series of comments that this Tim Burchett has been making, right? One of the congressmen, maybe one of the most notable ones who have been talking about the issue of the UAPs, right? And this whole matter, and I would like us to show the image here. That's an interview they did with him on News Nation, right? It's a media outlet that's giving space to certain U.S. congressmen to talk about this topic, right? People like George Knapp have appeared, right? Tim Burchett himself. Luna, what's her name? Ana Paula Luna, Ana Luna, and so on, right? Representative Burchett expects that in this interview, or says that there will be information they will be releasing intentionally, right? Are they going to start releasing completely false information? Yeah. Huh? For what? To create like this idea of, look, no, they're just releasing junk. They're releasing information that's not real. See, no, they're going to do intelligence work. Basically to say, look, this to discredit or devalue, let's say, those videos, images, photos that are real, that are important, that should be studied, like what Meritas did. You share information that they'll eventually realize is fake, and then they'll question it. For example, they're not showing a video of her, or they're showing a video that was clearly produced. They're showing, and then it completely loses credibility. Everything, of course. Of course. It's interesting that Burchett is getting ahead, because if it happens, well, to avoid getting into that topic, right? I find it interesting. He's been tougher than Ana Paulina on the intelligence issue. And how have they behaved when it comes to putting pressure on Congress not to release information or not to declassify what Congress required them to declassify? The only rule was that if it was proven to be risky for national security, then in that case, could they block that video or that photo or that case? If that wasn't proven, then they would have to release that document and do the same with each of the documents. So he says, I think the cover-up continues. I think the president and the White House are having problems with many of our alphabet agencies, he says. That's the classic deep state against America. Confirming the movement has already changed, is changing, or is seen as transformed. A movement now different from before. To generate misinformation and create the feeling that, well, none of the cases are valid, right? But the thing is, it works. I mean,
Discrediting always works, feeling the old reliable one.
so to speak. By the way, another thing that stands out is misinformation, creating a sense of less misinformation, which Vladimir Putin himself does over there in, what's it called? In China, right? Yasil. At least they also receive it, right? Well, just like the classic reception for a leader that matters to China, they haven't been seen so far. At least I haven't seen anything like that. Signals? No. On the contrary, what we've seen are simply images. It's been a very classic, typical reception of Vladimir Putin arriving in China. No. Less typical misinformation feeling reception. Thank you. In fact, if you look, you can see where he's getting off the plane. It's curious. Yes, there have been differences. Obviously, the Russian media are trying to say, no.
No, that his arrival was more spectacular. Anything goes like, oh no, the atmosphere there is better. Yes. No, well, yes, it's the one from the United States. It's the one from the United States. Yes, it's the one from the United States. Yes. So here I was.
The Russian media have been
saying that Vladimir Putin's reception was better, but that's because he was received by Wang Yi, who is the foreign minister. But others say, no, it's actually more important. Who received Donald Trump? Who received Donald Trump? The president of the Congress, of the parliament they have in China. So some consider one to be more important than the other, but well, that's not what matters. What matters is what's going to happen between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. And Vladimir Putin, yes, it's important. It is important anyway. I mean, the
who is going to receive him? I think, look, it says the following. Russian media point out that Putin seems to have received a higher level reception at the airport in Beijing. It says Putin was received by Wang Yi, as you mentioned, right? And it says some Chinese protocol analysts explain that sending a member of the Politburo to the airport indicates that Beijing considers the visitor or guest especially important. That's the one who went with Trump. And not with Putin. So, I mean, I don't doubt that the relationship with Putin is important, especially because you have nuclear weapons and he's your neighbor. I mean, from the start, you have to show a certain amount of deference and all that. But the dependence on China and the interdependence, because it's not just one-sided dependence. Both sides depend on each other. It's from the United States and from China. I mean, China and the United States depend on each other. For years, they've been buying dollars. But not only that, they keep buying. What else? What else are they buying? Well, the famous debts. The debt of, what's it called, of the United States, of the Treasury. And not only that, but we're also seeing how China, during this visit, what they sped up was business deals. And I mean, that's fine. That's perfect. And what did Trump do? The same thing. Exactly. And on the contrary, I saw China with Xi Jinping very firm in his position. And the United States basically saying, let's just do business, right? And let's forget about all the other problems, right? That's basically it. So, the visit with Putin, the interesting thing would be to see what happens after the visit. I mean, with actions, not with comments. Because the comments will be, we're super friends, we're the no. What comes after that? I mean, what operations will follow, for example, in Ukraine, right? What are we seeing and what are we going to see, for example, when it comes to oil? Look, Donald Trump has extended the sale of Russian oil for 1 more month. So in the end, I go back to the same thing. Business comes first. Right? I mean, that's the idea, at least, of Donald Trump, right? For them, business comes first. So let's see, because Xi Jinping is very practical in that sense. I mean, whatever benefits him and whatever creates less strain for him, that's what he's going to do. And well, we'll see, right? We'll see what the approach is. I can't imagine they're going to make a very harsh statement. They were bothered by what the Financial Times published, which supposedly said that Xi Jinping told Donald Trump that Putin will regret or could regret the war in Ukraine in the future, right? It's kind of a subtle message that maybe in the future he'll regret it, something like that. Yeah, like he's gonna lose. But that, I mean, even if it were true, obviously a government is never going to admit it. Not just
Whether it's Chinese or
Whatever it is, I mean, in general, what is said behind the scenes,
normally it won't be acknowledged unless something was recorded. But if not, it won't be acknowledged. And that's why they immediately came out and said, no, we didn't say that. And the White House didn't come out to confirm like, hey, yes, you did say it. No. The White House didn't make much of that either. That was, well, more like a leak to the Financial Times. I didn't really go any further, right? I mean, beyond the rumors and all that stuff that comes from those kinds of leaks, what's really important are the facts. Like, what's actually going to happen? I mean, if you look, you see China after this visit sending a bunch of weapons or soldiers or whatever to Putin, you'd obviously say, well, then they're clearly siding completely with Russia. But if you see the same as always, like, yeah, we're super close friends, but they never really send any significant help, then you'd probably say, well, they're not there. It's just for show. It's just for show. That's the same with Iran. I mean, they say to Iran, yeah, you're my best friend. And right now they're sending them Arab defense systems. I mean, he plays with everyone and he has Pakistan negotiating.
and speeding up the negotiation to
So that the whole problem ends already. China's the bella of the ball right now. Yes, exactly. I mean, let's say they know what their position is and they take full advantage of it. And they have a style that's not very confrontational, visually speaking, right? I mean, no, they usually, yes, sometimes they make their comments, but they're not usually very confrontational unless it's necessary. So, I mean, they're a bit more, let's say, behind the scenes.
right, making their arrangements. Let's move on to other matters. I mean, and analysts say that the fact that the two presidents of the world powers are going
To visit him in such a short time puts China at the center of everything. It puts them on top, of course. I mean, it shows you who's the powerful one now. Who are they having to visit? Right? Of course, I mean, Emandra de Rublos, thank you. How have you been? EMT, greetings to the whole community that's joining. Tapatia Plus, very good to see you. Well, there are other topics. There are other important matters too. Let me take us to the images, right? Because there are several images that are pending. So I think we'll start with this image. Let's see if we can put it up here on the screen. What are we looking at here? Here we are seeing an attack that took place in an area in Russia, which has already been attacked several times. And it's been targeted again in later attacks.
We'll talk more about that later, about what's going to happen.
this topic is going to get more intense. This area is called Ryajar. It's a region in Russia that has a lot of refineries, even though they have defenses. Well, they haven't been able to stop the Ukrainian drone attacks. So there it is, right? That's the issue, isn't it? That's the topic. We also have another image. What are we seeing here? Here we are seeing the top military commander of Ukraine. He, by the way,
He is trained in Russia, interestingly. And, well, that's the thing. But he is the top commander. It's in Ukraine. He's from Ukraine.
but he studied in Russia. So he has a lot of knowledge about Russian strategies. That person at this moment in this interview mentions that intelligence already knows that Russia is planning operations.
Offensives now from Belarus.
So they will attack the north of Ukraine again. Do you remember? That's how the war started in 2012 with attacks in the north. This famous city of Bucha, which was left in a terrible state once they managed to drive the Russians out, is precisely in that northern area. Another image that stands out is this one. It's a robot simply going upstairs, right? It's in fast motion. Yes, fast motion. Yes. They always show them in fast motion. Yes, because they're still a bit slow.
But at least the movement flows a little better now. It's not just Boston Dynamics anymore, right? Now, there are a lot of companies. Every day we're putting a robot here.
Every day there is
a robot doing something different, right? Doing different things, or making a fool of itself, or making a fool of itself too, right? I mean, like actually 2 or 3 times we have to put it on because in the morning we used to put,
Another. They couldn't turn off.
they couldn't turn it off. It's dancing.
And that it's dancing.
I understand it perfectly. It's very hard. It's very hard. They couldn't stop its rhythm. Well, these are maybe very basic tests.
Maybe very basic. Thank you.
Thank you.
She's leaving now. Thank you.
To have also thank
Image. Well, thank you. The attention. It's thank you. Image of thank you. Structure of a statue, right? That they're making. They say it would be the tallest statue of Jesus in the world. According to reports, they're going to take the title away from Brazil. From Brazil, right? I mean, it's going to be taller, bigger than the one in Brazil, supposedly. Supposedly. And this one is going to be in Armenia. This one is going to be built in Armenia, according to reports. So, well, it's also an interesting topic. Look, here's the other side, the other part. This is how it's turning out. Look at the tiny people down there. Well, honestly, it really is surprising.
They really need to do it too.
something like
Right? But a cross. Honestly, I think these things are silly. There are better things to spend money on, but people can spend as they wish.
People can spend their money however they want. I mean, when it's a monument or something like the Eiffel Tower and so on, they're always, always, always criticized. I mean, there's no way they won't be criticized.
Like you're throwing stones.
No, it's just that some people are really critical.
nothing seems right to them. They don't like anything. I don't want to mention names, you know, they just don't like anything.
But usually it's like that.
Well, let's see. They asked people if they wanted to build this, okay? And people said yes, perfect. But the thing is, a lot of people do things and ask questions.
Yeah, right. And it's always the classic thing. Like, they should do surveys. They should ask people.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No. But yeah, seriously. I mean, really, it's always the people who criticize. I won't say anything or insist further. Let's leave it and move on to other images. No, but if you think about what France used to be like, what Paris used to be like, honestly, it looks really beautiful. And suddenly there's this thing, I mean, this metal structure right in the middle, and you think it's horrible. But now you've gotten used to the image, and now it looks, well, yeah, the Eiffel Tower is beautiful. But in reality, it's a pointy metal structure. And it totally breaks with the style of the architecture of the time, right? I mean, it looks strange, doesn't it? Yeah, but it became a great symbol, right? Just like the figure of Jesus over there in Brazil, whether you're religious or not. I mean, the point is that the figure is already a classic of Rio de Janeiro, you know?
Yeah.
Of Rio de Janeiro. So now in every picture, it's always going to show up there, right? So yeah, that's how it is. That's the thing. Also, another one of the things.
No one asked if I wanted Cerro de la Silla. It's my landmark.
That's my nature.
This is the real one right here where we're seeing what's happening. There?
I don't know if you...
I didn't put it there.
I didn't put it. I didn't send it.
You put it there.
Oh, right. In Turkey. I just remembered.
It's just that I know you.
In Turkey. Yes, you also took a shower in the morning. In Turkey, there have been drones that have been hitting windows. Several apartments were affected. Nobody knows. Well, I haven't posted the information either. They haven't said anything about the drone's origin or purpose, but several houses were hit. That's good.
I mean, but do you know who did it? Well, no.
They haven't said. You see, also Turkey. This is, for example, the topic of about Iran. No, I haven't wanted to give my opinion. Well, sometimes I do, but I don't criticize Iran, right? I don't know whose it is, and they haven't shared much information.
Well, another image from today is this individual who is reporting or talking about robots.
About Walter the robot.
No, the third robot of the day, didn't I tell you? This is Walter. Walter works. Well, he could be a construction worker.
He works as a construction worker. They say he has the ability to do several things at the same time because, well, he is being built in the United Kingdom. Why? Because in the United Kingdom, they are having a shortage of construction workers. The average age of construction workers is 45 years old. I mean, they're already quite old to be doing this kind of work.
They're young. You can't really say years.
But that's the average.
We've met 80-year-old construction workers.
Yes.
But if that's who 80 years old still working as construction workers, but also very young people, right? And there aren't very young people.
We've met people who are 125 years old. No, sorry. Okay.
So, well, this robot, whose name is Walter, can do several things. The heavier tasks, I mean the ones that are more difficult.
No.
Yes, I include it especially for the toughest or heaviest construction tasks.
Is your namesake Walter Osorio?
Yeah, it's Walter without the sin lay.
Walter without the sin lay. It's Walter. Walter. Okay. And the only problem with these robots is that, well, I mean, normally what they can do is kind of limited up to now, right? I mean, but for example, when it's houses in housing developments like Infonavit, where they're all exactly the same pattern, yeah, well, I imagine it's much easier. But if it's houses, I mean, I feel like the value of a bricklayer is going to be extremely hard to replace with a robot. You know? I mean, actually, the trend right now is that they're replacing more professions like lawyers and other things because of AI systems, right? The machine, but AI, let's say, is not eliminating the lawyer, obviously, but rather reducing the need for them. The number of lawyers that used to be needed in a law firm.
Yes.
Before you needed to have,
The investigation.
yes, the juniors, as they call them, or the exact number of people who are in charge of paperwork, of investigating. Well, now, yes, you need them, but not as many. Before you had to have several, now there aren't as many. In the case of carpenters, electricians, bricklayers, many trades, well, no. How do you replace them? It's complicated. How do you adapt to so many materials? That's why they put you like this. So putting little blocks like the other day when they had an assistant, a robot assistant, remember? And that I posted here now looking at the details, you realize how they set everything up. Yeah, they set everything. So the robot looks really good. And the little banana, for example, it grabs a banana and makes a smoothie, right? And it takes the banana and does this. Yeah.
Said they put the chat on the phone. If you do it.
The zoom, I mean, you can see that the banana is cut like this and that's it. And everything is just set up like that, right? So it look.
Of course, that's how it is. It's not easy. What we do is not easy. So, for example, let me give you an example. A person who works as a robot analyst, he asks, for example, how will you teach them about different washing machines at home?
Yes.
The different dishwashers in countries where they use dishwashers. I mean, all of that, you would have to be training it for every different washing machine that comes out, making micro adaptations.
How do you do it there? I understand. They'll do it eventually, but it still has a ways to go, right? It still has a ways to go. It still has a ways to go. And look, check it out. The machine isn't a small machine. No, it's not a small machine.
It's huge, right?
I mean, yeah, well, that's true. The only good thing about him coming is that he doesn't miss Mondays. That's for sure.
They'll say he never misses Mondays. That's fine.
Go. That's for sure. Problem. But I think that ends up costing you more, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just that.
It's like, I don't even say anything anymore. That's it. This is what I expected for the year 2000. But, well, come on. We're 26 years behind. You know, in movies, they always imagine the year 2000 as the most futuristic thing in the world. And, well, it's only just now starting to get interesting. There's also this image we're seeing here.
Here we are.
Yes, we saw it, but we're repeating it because it's cool and interesting.
Here we are watching. We're going to see the cats in the trenches. Well, cats have been super useful animals to control mouse infestations, but they also have the ability to hear the missiles before they arrive. Many times, the soldiers know ahead of time before they realize it themselves, thanks to how the cats react, cats and dogs in general. But the cats, because they hear the whistles from very far away.
Of course, of course.
Well, that's also part of it. We have another image, right?
I think so. Is it this one or not anymore? No, that was the position. The whistle is from the flood very far away. Yes.
By the way, it was really terrible. I mean, by the morning, which is when we reported it, there were 18 people who had died. Well, I haven't checked if there's another update. We've also seen, we've been following the whole Ebola situation. It has changed a little bit, but let's wait until tomorrow for a more complete update to see how things are going. Of course, it's obviously still progressing, right? But, well, let's talk about it more tomorrow, okay? Because it is very interesting, but it's not that urgent either, right? Move on to something else. Here, there's going to be another robot. Look, another step.
Yes. Well, let's do it now. Once you see it.
But look, honestly, I mean, I don't know why people who build robots are so set on making them do artistic things. Robots, I mean, leave art to humans. That's what we want to do.
No, it doesn't make sense. But anyway,
This is a robot that can sculpt marble. Sculpt marble. Yeah. It's really cool. What does your robot do? Well, it spits. That's what it does. It picks its nose too. It picks its nose and spits. That's all it does. And yeah. So it looks like this one would be more subtle than this one. There it is, doing its thing, taking the job from.
Here you can see how many artists, right?
Yes, let's change it. But yeah, you can see it. You can see it. I mean, it looks interesting when they're doing it, right? That robotic perfection, right? What do you think, months or years maybe to build? This one does it in just, what does it say here? 15 days it does it. I mean, this is done in 15 days.
How long does it take? Months?
No. And he's rolling over in his grave there. What's the other one's name?
This Miguel Angel, he's the good one, right?
Donatello.
Miguel Angel. For that, for which the sculpture is Miguel.
Miguel Angelo. Yes, exactly. Well,
Let's get to the news, right?
Man, which news? Let's keep talking instead. No. No more images. Are there no more images? Are they finished? Show the images. Community, show the images, please. I just want to stay here in the images section. Well, I think they're finished. This one, right? We haven't seen this one yet. No.
We haven't seen that one. This is in the Donetsk region, in the area that's occupied by the Russians. This is a Ukrainian attack on what would be an area where the Russians have military equipment stored. So, well, today there were attacks on these areas. And here, what do we have? Well, right now, we'll get to the Ukraine stuff.
Let's go.
Oh, let's move on to another story. Yes.
Talking.
Let's go to the ones we're going to.
Let's go talk about the topic of Ukraine today. Zelensky and Putin, both of them are definitely not clueless. They're really on top of this whole war issue. And the president of Ukraine today has already approved new attack plans for June regarding the situation in Russia. And it's already being said that the long-range missiles developed by Ukraine are going to be used. So they don't have to keep waiting for permission, because it's ridiculous that you have to get permission to defend your own country and attack the invading country. Well, Zelensky reported that the High Military Command has already provided updates on all the latest developments, and that the Ukrainian army is already holding and expanding positions on several fronts. That Kyiv is focusing its strategy on refineries, as you may have noticed, pumping stations and oil export ports, with the goal of disrupting fuel supplies to Russian forces and affecting the Kremlin's war economy. Now look, in the last 4 years, which is ridiculous, we've been in this war for 4 years, I've been watching interviews with Russians. At first, yes, they said, we're going to win, we're going to do this. But in these last few months, I see them really fed up. Now they tell me I'm not going to give my opinion, because if I do, they'll put me in jail. People are already fed up with what's happening. And that's even though they haven't really been hit hard, not like the Ukrainians have experienced, but the economy is wearing them down.
The thing is, the real concern beyond this is about the military or the high command. That's what it is. That's why. Is Putin paranoid? They're very angry because they're weaker than when they started. I mean, you say it's not possible that your neighboring country, which didn't have the capability to manufacture missiles, which didn't have the capability, I mean, they had talent. They had it. But they didn't have that urgent need to be manufacturing, he says. It's not possible that they couldn't have stopped them at the factories. The other day, an attack hit and left part of the building destroyed at a drone company. And the people from the drone company were saying, hey, when did we move? I mean, yes, we do have some operations there, but we're already expanded throughout Ukraine and also abroad, because we knew that one day they were obviously going to attack us, right? I mean, what happened is that they didn't act quickly. There wasn't good intelligence, even though, I mean, they've always been very skilled in that area. It's very strange that it happened. Well, now they're talking about dozens, and some even say far more than just dozens of times they've tried to take Zelensky's life, for example, and things like that, and they were never able to do it. I mean, they could never pull that off in 4 years. And you say, hey, well, this is really strange, because, yeah, I mean, they attacked a former agent who lives in England, and it goes really viral. that they did those operations, right? Like the one where they gave him that reactive injection or whatever. They put him there with like some reactive chemical. Do you remember? See, or things like that. And the other one, well, a Ukrainian, by the way, a former president or something like that, who they threw some kind of,
You're saying before the war?
they disfigured him.
His whole
They always did operations like that. And now with this, in this war, having him as a neighbor, that those operations may not have been successful or may not have been achieved. But do you see operations where generals are being eliminated inside Russia by the Ukrainians? I mean, how could they not become paranoid about that? And how could the Russian high command not be angry for allowing things to reach that level? So the problem isn't so much that, but rather the problem is who might be next. I mean, the next leader that Russia is going to have, because clearly it doesn't seem like they're going to have a president as such. But the next leader will surely be very focused on the military, or maybe not. So,
most likely, and well, the estimates in terms of numbers, according to intelligence agencies, according to independent sources, using databases from exiled Russian media outlets that can't operate in Russia, they estimate that the number of Russian soldiers killed is between 280,000 and over 500,000 people. I mean, Russian soldiers who lost their lives. And if we count casualties of people who are wounded and can no longer return to the front, it could go up to 1.5 million who have not returned. When it comes to the Ukrainians, between 100,000 and 140,000 have lost their lives. But soldiers who cannot return to the front, 600,000.
well, let's move on to other important matters as well. It is being revealed, and we are already putting in the comments that tomorrow there will be formal action against Raúl Castro, Fidel Castro's brother.
Exactly.
On day 90 something.
94 years old, that's really old. The former Cuban president, Raúl Castro, who, let's remember, was president for a little while. Tomorrow, formal charges will be filed in Miami, according to multiple sources familiar with the case. This is reported on Fox News. Well, this 94-year-old man was president of Cuba from 2008 to 2018 and is the younger brother of Fidel Castro. The situations are related. Do you remember? We've already talked about it, about downing of a plane in 1996. Actually, civilian planes from Brothers to the Rescue, where unfortunately 4 Cuban exiles lost their lives in that case. And, well, the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanchett, and the Deputy Director of the FBI, Christopher Raya, and Senator Ashley Moody, the Attorney General of Florida, James Uterney, is expected to attend the press conference. The CIA Director, John Ratcliffe, joined last week. It turned out there was a trip to Havana, which, well, was super strange. I don't know how long it's been since someone of that level went to Cuba. And, well, they were talking, well, about this topic. It was being discussed. That possibility was leaked. And, well, tomorrow we're supposed to see this. So now what's changing is this issue with Cuba. That they could suddenly come and take him away like they did with Maduro, or what changes? I mean,
Or what changes, right? Well, yeah, that's true. The question is still up in the air because we don't know. Not really, right? I mean, we don't really know what the true intention behind all of this is, right? At the end of the day, if the intention is to do what they did with Maduro, I think in the case of the Cubans, the operations could be very different. I mean, which is a country that's much closer to the United States and already had its conflicts in the past. So I don't think they're going to make it easy in that sense, like it happened with, right? So that overconfidence from Maduro, I think that was his mistake, right? Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen again. But, well, who knows? Maybe we'll see.
lately, the Americans have been showing a lot of images of Delta Force or doing exercises, right? It's like they're trying to imply that they're there, right? And that soon they're going to take action. And yeah, it's like they're trying to show some strength, right? That's what's been happening these last few days. Hey, are the storms still going on, or is there anything else about that?
Right? From Cuba, right? From Venezuela. Yes, today. Jorge Rodriguez, Delcy Rodriguez's brother, said that they are going to release 300 political prisoners in the coming days. Now, whether they're really going to do it, we don't know. Because honestly, last time they just fooled us. He doesn't even have hair. But the president of the National Assembly of Venezuela says this, right? That 300 political prisoners are going to be released under the amnesty law. I mean,
So the point is that then Rodriguez is already sending that message. And you say, that's good news, right? Hopefully it happens. Hopefully it really happens.
well, today, I think today actually, yes. They released a 16-year-old girl, yes. And also the oldest woman they had detained, who is 70 years old. They already released her on Monday. Samantha, her name is Samantha.
They released her. The young girl was there for 6 months. Yes, no, it's something else. She was detained for 6 months when she was 16, right? So yes, it's really something, isn't it? Now she'll be able to return home and to school after being detained for 6 months. Who knows what she went through?
They were there basically because she's the sister of a dissident soldier. I mean, there's no reason that she did anything wrong.
Not even a...
A protester?
No, nothing like that. It's just because she's the sister of.
No, and her family has been persecuted for several years. In fact, several of her uncles, one uncle, her older brother, and a cousin are still detained.
Well, that's how things are. Well, I really hope things will be different, as Delcy and Rodriguez have promised. Regardless of the fact that there have to be elections, but if they really want to change, as they've said, well, they would have to act in a very different way, and that's far from happening, right? I've been talking about it with people who write to us from Venezuela and who tell us, well, that yes, it's like they just gave it a facelift. But, well, they see things the same and they don't see when those so-called famous elections are actually going to happen, right? That's the issue that's still pending. Let's move on to other things. Well, let's go to the comments now. We'll leave the storm image up here for now. In Texas, in Coahuila, now in Coahuila, not anymore. At this point, as you can see, the storms have moved a bit further south. Let's say no. Let's remove the comment here. And there it is. You can see it. Well, toward the center, toward the east of Mexico, over there in Tamaulipas, possibly there are some storms. It's happening in some areas and also in the center of the country. That's right now. That's at this moment. So if we look at it, the largest number of storms is in San Luis Potosí, and it's happening. It already passed Victoria. It already passed Tampico, and it's in this area between San Luis Potosí and Tampico. But no, it's not hitting Tampico. Apparently, it's, let's say, in this whole region, Ciudad Valles, for example. No, that's where the storms would be. Pretty intense, as you can see. And in some other places, too, for example, toward Oaxaca, toward Iguala, Mexico City, Morelia, cloudy skies. Poza Rica, also cloudy, with chances of storms as well. But what really stands out, look at this, is the number of storms. It's impressive. Thunderstorms in Texas as well, around Waco. You remember the Waco case? Texas is getting hit hard. Austin, Texas, San Antonio, and so on. Houston too, they're also getting storms. Over there, Mississippi as well, because there are other areas in the southeastern United States that also have storms, right? And that have strong activity in terms of, what's it called? Yes, in terms of electrical activity, in terms of storms and all this situation, right? But the biggest one I see is this one over San Luis, between San Luis and Tamaulipas. There it is. Well, let's move on to the comments. How's it been going? How have you been? Thanks so much for joining us. Well, I mean, as much as possible, we try to make it not just news, but also add a little bit of humor, which is so necessary these days. And well, I want to thank the whole community that recommends us. Thank you so much for being here, for talking about us, for recommending us, and for trying to stay so... I mean, now it's really about having conversations, right? Talking about what's happening in the world. It says, well, even though we speak the same language, sometimes I don't understand you when you make comments, Pepe. Best wishes. Marine, Nemonte. Well, look, we're getting there. We're starting to understand. Believe me, when I see comments or sometimes posts, especially from Chileans, right? Honestly, sometimes it's hard. Like, what did they say? What does that mean, right? How do you translate it? But honestly, little by little, we've gotten used to it. And we're starting to understand each other among all the Spanish speakers. No, because even if it's in the same country, in the same country, sometimes we just speak differently, right? So it's like a person from Madrid is not the same as someone from Andalusia, right? Andalusians speak like this, They have a really strong accent there. We had a classmate at school who was from Andalusia, and he was, well, the class clown, right? Of course, the classic, there's always a class clown, the one who's the funniest. And it was him, this guy, he was very Andalusian. And no, well, sometimes you couldn't understand him. Really, even the Spaniards would say, no, I can't understand you. And besides, he started hanging out with us a lot. Basically, we were a group of a Brazilian, some Mexicans, and the rest were Spaniards. And we started teaching them Mexican double entendres, But he had no filter, see. So he went around saying all the double entendres everywhere. But it was really funny because they were Mexican double entendres, but with a super Andalusian accent. So it was really, really funny to watch. Hey, did you see the white ceiling? And whatever else. For example, that one. And so we were dying of laughter. It was really funny for us to hear that mix, right? So with the internet, I remember that the first YouTube videos were like that. All of them, like how do you say whatever in Chilean and in Argentinian and so on, right? And there they were. And what are the favorite foods of we spent the first 5 or 6 years on YouTube getting to know each other across Latin America. Now, if someone doesn't know what an arepa is, they're really out of touch. No, right? Now it's like we've already gotten to know each other. Well, I remember this very famous Chilean, a YouTuber. Germán Garmendia. Germán. I think they've already taken down the videos, but someone sent me one. Actually, a Chilean YouTuber friend sent me a video of him, of Germán Garmendia, from when he was just starting out. I understood absolutely nothing. No.
Couldn't understand him.
He spoke too fast and had a strong accent.
Yeah. But he did tone it down. Yeah, he neutralized it a bit so everyone could understand him, right? Yeah, it's impressive. Greetings. Hello, Marine Mont. Greetings. Dad, no.
That Novak joke on the phone, Mom, I had another argument with my husband, and to teach him a lesson, I'm going to your house. That's not going to help at all, honey. If you really want to punish him, it's better if I go to your place. Yes, he will definitely learn. Thanks so much, Jesus Narres. Dad, thank you for staying with us all day and keeping us informed. Greetings, Jesus.
Greetings, Jesus. Raúl Tapatía says, what is an anticucho?
What is an anticucho?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I've never, says Beto Obama. Hello, what would you ask Trump? How much money do you need to be happy? It's not about money anymore at this point, Beto.
No, but it's a good question. Let's see what they answer, how they react. How much money do you need to be happy? It's a very paradoxical question, especially for someone who has a lot, right? Or someone who feels the need to pretend they have a lot. They do have it, but they always pretend to have much more than they really do. So where's the limit, right? Basically, right? Actually, maybe the real question would be, are you happy, right? Really, right? Jose says, anticuchos are really good heart skewers, my wife is. But, it's something, I don't know what skewers are, or anticuchos either.
Anyway, they're great heart skewers.
But I imagine it's some kind of fruit or vegetable or something like that, okay? No.
I don't know, right? How did you get that? Look, it's like...
It says heart super.
Super good heart. Someone really nice.
The typical, it's good for your heart. No. It's like that, like noble, someone noble, a noble person, right?
Let's see, wait. Greetings, it says, but...
But, here we call people with a good heart noble. With a good heart. He's very noble. But now that I think about it, is that what they call it everywhere? Because if you say it, maybe, I don't know if in Spain, when you say you're noble or he's very noble, maybe they think it's about royalty. Or if the term noble is used for nobility.
It says to let him have the floor, but that's different. He made an anticucho. Chilean anticucho is a grilled meat and vegetable skewer, popular at street food events and celebrations.
Yeah, so you eat it.
Wait. No, number 1. Cow heart alpine style.
No, no, no. It doesn't say number 1. It says no, no. Alpine cow heart.
Okay. So it's not good from the heart. Hearts are super good. Okay. So food. If you're talking about food, I'm talking about food. Okay. Okay. Beef heart. You eat it there.
Yes, they eat them. They eat.
I didn't know, says Rubius. How are the pigs? And no, greetings to Marcela. How are you, Marcela? He says, here in Chile, plant-based meat is when you put it on skewers and then on the grill.
And I mean, what? Tapatia? You didn't go? Or how's the vibe? He says, greetings to the Tapatia. He says the topic for the next news show, the rescue of Plus Ultra.
What is Plus Ultra?
Plus Ultra? Are you talking about the Samsung? Samsung Plus Ultra? No? Or what could it be? What could it be, Jalala?
Greetings to MMT. He says it hasn't rained at all in Brownsville. Also, greetings to Sendeño.
Greetings to Marcela Riquelme. Greetings, Marcela.
And also to Gabriel Duran Castro. And he says, down with the dictatorship and freedom for Cuba.
Greetings, greetings. Gloria Hernandez. How are you, Gloria?
Greetings also to Marie Marine Mons. She says, you see that even though we talked to Marcelo Leite, greetings also to Panterita, to Tapatia. Let me greet Raul Sachs. How are you?
What's up? How are you? It says, Jalala, AI could transform or replace between 300 million and 800 million jobs by 2035. The biggest technological revolution in history has already begun and will advance faster than the internet. Well, that's really not... No, that's not what's happening. I mean, what's actually happening is totally different. It was thought that it was going to happen. Maybe it will happen. I mean, yes, there are jobs that are going to be lost. There are other jobs that are going to be created. I mean, definitely. But it's working differently than they imagined. There are careers or things that could decrease. For example, it was thought that it would be a substitute for designers, for artists, and this is not happening. People, the same demand from people to say no. I mean, we want original things. We don't want that. I mean, so then you start to see how, well, yes, this is a... Maybe there will be an attempt to actually divide it. That's right. There will be a struggle. I mean, a struggle in the sense that on one hand, there will be a lot of attempts to use the idea and maybe it will replace many things. Yes, yes, it's a major disruptive change, but it's not happening the way people thought it would, especially thinking that a lot of jobs, let's say, of less qualified people would be eliminated. What's really happening is, currently, it's impacting highly qualified professionals in specific fields, like lawyers, who have been the most affected so far. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine someone saying, no, I'm not going to study law because AI is going to replace me? Well, I don't. Honestly, I actually think the opposite. I think there's a chance that maybe you'll be more efficient. For example, programmers. Yeah, programmers said AI is going to replace them because, yes, it's true. I mean, AI gives you all the programming, yes. But you don't even know how to install it, how to use it, or how to modify it. I mean, it's never going to be perfect. It's always going to need some tweaks. So what programmers do now is that programmers are the ones who use AI. What they also say is that now they're being required to work faster. I mean, what used to take a month to deliver, now you have to deliver in a week. Why? Because the bosses or the clients know that you're going to use AI. I mean, you're not going to do it yourself. I mean, if they tell you to program, maybe you'll get moving and you'll understand it. But a lot of people say they don't even have the time to check if the programming is right or wrong. I mean, you take care of it, programmer, use whatever AI you want. But you take responsibility for making sure everything is well programmed, right? So it's actually becoming like the ideal tool for programmers. Maybe if you're a mid-level programmer, now you can program as if you were at a more advanced level. That's true. That's probably happening. Who knows, right? But no, there isn't. I don't know if there's a precedent on that topic because people have tried to compare it. And I think that looking back, we've compared it, for example, to the issue of electric light and the changes it brought. I mean, all the jobs that were lost when electric light started to spread and there was light. All of that. And that it was the lamplighters.
The lamplighters.
The lamplighters.
Exactly. So that...
If not, well, yes. I mean, at the time, maybe it was probably criticized, right?
For example, when industries changed, when they moved to factories and all that, and then suddenly a more advanced factory would come along and they'd say, well, they're going to lay people off. And yes, they did lay people off, but they also hired others. Previously, the system would always balance itself. We'll balance this. That's the issue. To what extent?
We'll come up with something.
Uh-huh. I think so, exactly. I think at some point we have to find a balance there. He says, hey, sorry, can I send you a photo? He says, hey, but the guide makes mistakes. It makes a lot of mistakes, Yes.
Yes, yes. The dad says no, the current record for the 3x3x3 Rubik's Cube is 2.76 seconds, and it's held by the Polish boy Theodor Sackler, who is 9 years old.
He's just a little kid, a child. How much did you say? What did you say? How long did it take him?
Armando 2.76 seconds.
Just imagine. Have you ever solved a Rubik's Cube?
No, I've never done it. No, never, me neither. You need to know the trick. That's really what you have to do.
My friend says 9812. What does Pepe think about politics in Mexico? My friend says, how have you been, mi de novena? About what topic? Let's see, what topic would you like? Antonio says, how have you been? Greetings also to Guasaxi, Texas. Thank you. Greetings. How are you, Antonio? Did you get caught in the storm, in this part of the storm that was going around Texas? Or where is Guasaxi? Yes, no, I don't know. I didn't see where it is. No, it's not on this fake visit, but I guess we don't have to see where Guaxaxi is. He says I'm on the highway. You're on the road.
If he just stopped at Oxxo, he bought a chocolate.
Great. Can you get me a how do you say it? A mineral water.
And then Pepsi Light.
One Pepsi Light, one black, one Pepsi black.
Greetings to Karim. Karen is a robot that makes tacos and serves glasses of red wine. She says, that's what you want. Greetings to Panterita, who is going where they serve chocolate. Marilena sends good evening greetings from Tehuacan, from the Quiros family. Onofre, sending greetings, hugs, and encouragement to those who are sick. Thanks for today's information. Greetings, Marilena, and thank you for being here.
Hello, Marilena. Yes, we discussed this. I just remembered. We talked about that Venezuelan airline recently. I don't remember what we commented on. Honestly, when I'm reporting the news, I sometimes don't have all the topics ready. If we commented on something, neither of us remembers what it was.
All I remember, the last thing, is something about a plane from...
An airline, that specific airline. Plus Ultra. We talked about Plus Ultra.
I also remember that they resumed connections between the United States and Venezuela. The first flight departed from Miami. That's all I remember. I don't recall if it was with that colleague.
I think there are some issues with Spain, with that airline, but we'd have to check. I don't remember what we talked about anymore. It says anticuado is a delicious dish made from beef heart, originally from lipeño. I mean, that's what it's called, anticuado. Okay, I think it's anticucho.
That is because the word line got left out there.
Okay, a line.
Greetings to whoever we haven't greeted yet, Roblox. It also says Federico.
Good morning. How have you been, Federico? Good morning. Greetings to Italy.
Greetings also to, well, Raul, to Wendy. How are you, Wendy?
What's up, Wendy?
Greetings from New York, says Wendy. Greetings to Deguito. And she says the rain in Mexico City is intense. Whew, the traffic is just delightful, she says.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can already picture how bad the traffic is going to be, right? I know. That's how it was a few days ago.
Here. Says Dad. On a day like today, in 1977, the Orient Express train made its last direct trip. It was a luxury train that covered the route from Paris to Istanbul.
Well, that's a really good fact, isn't it? No, I didn't know that fact. Greetings to Nova's dad. Thank you very much for sharing these interesting facts with us here.
Greetings to Poof. How are you, Poof?
Hey, greetings to Fabian, who is a member of Aguacaton. Thank you very much, Fabian, and to all the members of the channel. And above all, to the members who have been supporting us here for many years. Thank you so much for that. Big shout out. Guillermo says in Mexico they're canceling Arcángel. They're calling him out. What's going on with that? Which Arcángel? Could it be the Angel of Independence, or what could it be? What could it be? I don't know, Guillermo. Peggy says, no, we saw storms, lightning. We lost power. The outdoor furniture blew away in North Houston, Texas. That's how it went, Peggy.
See you later.
And for sure, Peggy. Greetings. They're fine right now. Says, how have you been? Very good. Greetings, Terminator. He says, such lovely weather. The warmth feels nice. Yeah, it's good. It got warm here, but not too much. Here, at least it was good like this too. He says, who's Peruvian here? Hey, yeah, good question. Someone who happened to experience the earthquake, by the way. He says, I do want a robot that spits and takes out boogers, says Guillermo. Really? I do too. I want one too.
That dances. Greetings to Noah Nauka's dad. It says there. Well, that we've already talked about it. Let's see a big shout out. And it says, hi, Dad, and sends greetings. As always, a very good show. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Greetings.
Greetings to you. It says, I don't know if we read it. Greetings to Jerez. Also to Soli. Soli didn't say anything else, man. Let's see if there's no leather. Greetings to 123. And from me, he asks, what can you ask a stubborn, hard-headed old man who's closed off and won't listen to reason?
That's the thing. That's the thing. Yes, exactly. That's why what can you ask him? Nothing. There isn't anything.
His dad says that Trump would ask, have you made a bet with Putin to see who regrets first the senseless war against Iran and Ukraine?
Very good. Very good question.
Good question, right? It repeats the pattern.
Yes, just imagine. Yes, it's the same little pattern.
That's odd, because if she already saw it, the logic is you don't repeat the pattern.
Right? Exactly. The operation should have gone differently. Right? Now we're back to intelligence. She says, I've been following him since 2018. What kind of avocado am I? Gisela, how have you been? No. Well, you're a super avocado. The thing is that the channel members, I mean, the ones who have a membership, get a little symbol that also lets me see how many years they've been here. Of course. Those who don't. I can't tell, but I know you've been here. I remember you, Hugo. Always. It's been a long time. Yes, yes, yes. Of course. I really appreciate it to the whole community. Member or not, just for being here. I appreciate it a lot. And well, many of you are already familiar faces. Well, they're not faces because many of you don't have a photo, but they're familiar names to me and I really appreciate that.
He's, well, an artist. No, well, who knows? I don't know about that. We don't know about those.
What is that thing?
The Archangel is an artist.
He's an artist. He says a low-level one, the reggaeton singer. And there's a lot of talk.
That says very bad.
The definition is really great. He says he spoke badly about Chimotrofia for talking about the conquest and the circus they're putting on. That's why they want to cancel him. He's already canceled with his music. I mean, what's the point? No. It's really good, right, Ree? Today we're bringing in Verderi. We're going to put him here. Verderi music section, Latin music or Hispanic rock music or I don't know. Let's see. So he can give us all the gossip.
Yes, yes. Tell us the gossip. It's really good. MT says, when Evo visited Mexico City and Coyoacan, they wanted to move my truck from my door and I refused and the police moved it. They left 2 police officers to watch my truck so the Chairos wouldn't mess with it.
Wow. So they gave your truck security. That's what I find really crazy too. That's intense. He says, Sebas is in Peru, but I didn't feel it since I'm in Arequipa in the south. The quake was farther north. Thanks for the info, Sebas. Sending greetings to Peru. He says, I went to the Coyoacan fair. Everything was great. That's awesome, Jose. That's awesome. You went. Send us a photo. Let's see if you have one you'd like to share. But that's awesome. But no, I really like Coyoacan. It's very beautiful. So we always try that when we go to Mexico City. We spend at least one day there in Coyoacan. He says again about that clown Trump. He says, David, how are you, David? Big shout out to David. He says, and Italo says, hello, Pepe and Estris. I enjoy watching you because you provide complete and independent international information that TV channels don't offer or only summarize. Greetings from Chile. Thank you very much, Italo from Chile. Big shout out. How are things going over there, by the way? He says, when I met Pepe, I didn't have kids. Wow, Jose, seriously, that's crazy.
No, he's joking. No, he's joking because there's always been a child.
No. Jose didn't have kids. I mean,
He doesn't have, when I met Pepe, he didn't have kids.
No, he did have kids.
You didn't
Jose didn't have...
kids. No, kids are tema. I believe you.
They're little?
They're little. They're little.
Oh, I don't know what they are, but they're little.
Having no.
No, maybe yes. I think so. He says, wait for me. Where is it? Where is it?
The guy is missing. He's sick.
He says, Neri, how have you been? Greetings, Neri. He says, here on the live stream, he says, a big hug. Neri, how have you been? Greetings. Says he wanted an arepa. I just hope it's soon, as I always say, since we haven't been to that place yet. Do you remember?
No, I don't even remember where it is.
No, yes.
Where are the hamburgers?
Hamburgers or skewers? Yes, exactly.
Well, not next to.
It's not a yes. Next to it. It's almost in front. Luisa says. She says, Luz, cheers, baby. I'm checking in from Lima, Peru. Let me tell you that here in Lima, the tremor wasn't very strong, but in Ica, which is in the south, it was felt a lot. It's just that, look, Sebas is further south, I imagine. Then, because you're right, I mean, it was in Ica, and Ica is further south. It's just that it's still a ways away.
I mean, it was here. Look. And you're right. I mean, yeah, it was right next to Ica. So I imagine the people in Ica must have really felt it. We're talking about, well, it shows here about 30 kilometers from the epicenter. So, yeah, I imagine that's why I say it caused the problems it did, because the earthquake was actually 50 kilometers deep. So it wasn't a very shallow earthquake. I mean, it stands out to me that it did cause some damage, right? That too.
Greetings to Christian Reyes, who says, hello, how are you, friends? I send greetings to my wife, Tatiana. We watch you every day. Thank you very much for the information. So greetings to Christian and Tatiana for watching us.
Greetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Where are you watching us from? Can you tell us?
Greetings. And greetings also to, it says, Jalala today Zapatero was charged. Well, the public accusations indicate possible crimes. Yes, they entered his house, right? They did they checked his house. Yes. Oh, it says influence peddling, criminal organization, money laundering, falsification of documents. There it is. I knew that, right? There are a few things there.
Yes, that's fine. We'll check later for anything else.
She says eating arepas is good. I'll find a place that sells them or make them at home.
Uh-huh. And well, I mean, I imagine that we're gonna like it. I can imagine the taste.
They're a bit thicker, just made with a different kind of flour.
I'm not sure if it has other ingredients or if it's just corn.
It's just the fillings.
Yeah. But the arepa dough, I don't know if it tastes different. I mean, if it has something different or if it's gonna taste the same as a tortilla.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone here has tried them, please comment. Jose Zarate, right? He says, greetings. Thank you so much, Cleo. How have you been? A huge hello. Hello to Cebola as well. How have you been?
Leo, hello.
From Martin, from Dad, well, for everyone, thank you so much for joining us. So let's go, right? That's it.
Let's go. Remember that we're on WhatsApp and Telegram. That's where we send you the notifications for the live streams. And we're also on Facebook.
X and Instagram. That's right, Anticucho. Yes, it's Anticucho. I mean, it's not Anticucho. It's more than that. The autocorrect fails. Corrected to Anticucho there. Anticucho is the right one, so we'll have to try it too. Let's go. Take care. Have an excellent day. Well, tomorrow's already May 20th. The year is going by so fast. And here will we keep paying attention and commenting on what's happening in the world. Thank you very much. We've been broadcasting here since morning and honestly into the night.
Early, guys.
Yes, this is officially our longest broadcast. Yet, so here we are. Jose Hernandez, huge shout outs to you. Cebolla, Cleo, and the whole community. See you later.
We interrupt your regular programming. Thank you for tuning in to La Verdad. This is PPPP.
Live! The truth is intense, pure. The unusual is real, pure. Here we analyze it from a global perspective. Don't miss out, tune in to the channel. PP Live, controlling the signal. P and Astrid telling it like it is. Raw journalism, respected here. Turn on notifications, don't lose track. Until next time. Yes, sir!
We're taking attendance.
Suscribe. Live in the house.
Subscribe.